Hi there, year 9. We are going to continue looking at equations. However, in this lesson, we are going to be looking at worded equations, and then we're going to be looking at something called substitution. All right. My hope is that you'll be able to translate worded questions into algebraic equations, be able to solve them, and then hopefully you also know what is meant by substitute, and you also know how to substitute into algebraic equations. Before you commence with this lesson, please make sure you've completed the outstanding quiz on Saturday 1, please. And then when you move on to the next slide, there's a short starter to start off with. And if you have a go at that before moving on to the next slides. Now, we will very much be using some of the knowledge that you guys have built up in the previous lessons. But as I said, we're going to be working with worded problems. And the first idea is to change our worded problems into algebra before we can solve anything. You may find after changing your worded problems into algebra, you may still use your function machines or flowcharts to help you. Right? But whatever you use in today's lesson would have been things that you covered in the previous lessons. So if you find that you haven't covered the past two previous lessons, my advice to you would be to go back and do those two previous lessons first. Right, so our first example here, it says I think of a number, I add 3 and then multiply it by 2. My answer is 12. Form an equation and solve it to find my number. Alright, now that I think of a number is going to be a letter. Alright, I'm just going to call it x. Alright, and the first thing they say to us is they add it to 3. So what I've done is put x plus 3. And they're telling me that answer is multiplied by 2. So what I've actually done is pull it in brackets, because what they're saying is, well, whatever I've added by 3 of them multiplied by 2, and by putting it in brackets, it means I do it first. Now, a couple of weeks ago, we looked at expanding brackets. So remember, whenever you see a bracket, start off by expanding it. And when we expand it, we end up with 2x plus 6 equals 12. If you decide to use a flowchart at this point, well, your flowchart will be 2 times x plus 6 gives you 12. You then need to work backwards. So take away 6, then divide by 2, which is effectively what we're going to do here, but without a flowchart. So when we take away 6 from 12, we end up with 6. So we have 2x is equal to 6. Now 2 multiplied by something gives us 6. So 6 divided by 2, x should be equal to 3. Once again, on this example here, it says I think of a number. That I think of a number is what we're going to call x. You could call it y, z, whatever letter you want to use, but we're going to use x. Right? It says I multiply it by 2, then I take away 4. So in this case, I can say 2x, which just means 2 times x, and that answer is taken away by 4. It then tells me I found the answer is equal to 14, so my equation is equal to 14. So all I've done to start off with is create an equation from the information that's been given to me. And once again, if you decide to use a flowchart in this case, well, your flowchart will be times 2 minus 4 equals 14, and you would reverse that backwards, so you do plus 4 divided by 2, which is effectively what I'm going to do here, but without a flowchart once again. So I'm going to plus by 4 to get the 4 to the other side, and do the inverse of minus 4, which is plus 4. So I get 2x is equal to 18. Now 2 times something gives us 18. In order to work out what that is, I would do 18 divided by 2, so x is equal to 9. Now, quite similar to the examples that you've gone through, if we have a go at task 1, and you've got 7 questions there that are quite similar to our examples, please start off by creating an equation from what's been given to you. If you need to, use a flowchart. If you end up with any brackets, open those brackets up first, but take your time and make sure that you correctly take the information out of the worded questions and use that to create a correct equation before you start off with anything else. You've then got 2 challenge questions that I want you to have a go at the bottom. Alright, so in general terms, when we're given algebra, those are just letters. Now, sometimes we can actually substitute those, which means to change those and change those letters into numbers. And when you do that, you can actually calculate and make calculations using your equation. So generally speaking, when we're met with a substitution question, start off by writing out the expression. Right. Then they will tell you what they want you to change those letters into. You would then change those letters into the numbers that they want you to change them into. You would then use your knowledge of BIDMAS, which is just brackets, indices, division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction, to actually work out the value of your expression or equation that's been given to you. On the next slide, I will show you some examples where we've got some letters and we've got some numbers and we start to make sense of substitution. Alright, so if we look at the first question here, it says 5a when a is equal to 10. Well, remember 5a just means 5 times a, but a is equal to 10 in this case, so it's saying 5 times 10, which is just 15. If we look at b, we've got 8c, which just means 8 times c, and it's saying c is equal to 4. Well, this just means 8 times 4, which is equal to 32. If we look at c, we've got 3c, which means 3 times c, but c is equal to 2, which means 3 times 2, which is just 6. So for every question that you do answer, as I said, rewrite out the expression. So if I was answering D, I would write out 4p, I would put p is equal to 20. I would then put 4 times 20, and then put my final answer of 18. On these examples, we've just got more letters and we've got more things to substitute, but it's no different. So we've got 3a plus 2c when a is equal to 5 and c is equal to 4. Remember, 3a just means 3 times a, and 2c means 2 times c. You change the a to a 5, you change the c to a 4. 3 times 5 is 15, 2 times 4 is 8. You add those two final numbers together, you get 23. You can see the same thing follows on an example B and example C. Please feel free to take down these examples if they help you understand and ingrain the information that's been given out to you. And please refer to them should you get stuck. On the next slide, you will find your second task. Please start off by writing out the expressions. Show me all you're working out where possible, please, and please take your time to check your answers and make sure you've not made any silly mistakes. The last of our examples that we have here, I've got x over y. Now x over y actually just means x divided by y. Alright. Now in this case, x happens to be equal to 3 and y happens to be equal to 2. So what they're saying is 3 divided by 2. Right, and half of 3 is 1.5. If you've got a calculator, you might just pop that into your calculator and get 1.5. The next one, x squared minus 2y squared. Right, remember x squared just means x times x. Remember 2y squared just means 2 times y times y. Right? X is equal to 3, y is equal to 2. Well, we've got 3 squared. Right? We've also got 2 squared, which we're going to do first because of BIDMAS indices. So on that second example, you end up with 9 minus 2 times 4, which is 8. 9 take away 8, which is just 1. Once you've finished your work, please mark your work keys in the answers file. Assess your performance and tell me whether you're happy with your understanding of solving worded equations of substitution. Tell me what you struggled with and tell me what you found straightforward. And then tell me 2 things that you learned from today's lesson. Alright? I don't want you to have a go at the questions that you can see below, and just remember that t to the power of t to the power of 2 just means t times t, or t squared just means t times t. Once you have done all of that, make sure you have shown me all you're working out. Make sure you have completed all tasks. Please do not be lazy, push yourself. Well, you then need to make sure that you take a photo of your work. If you've done it in a Word document, if you've done it on a piece of paper, take a photo of it and then upload it onto Satchel1, please. I will then give you some feedback and comment on how you performed, and we will take it from there. Thank you very much for your efforts and your plans and your focus. Keep working hard, and I hope to hear from you soon.